Hey, good evening. It's John again. I'm hosting Immaculate Grid, going for a low time, low rarity score. Hit about a par yesterday with a 20 rarity score and a decent about a minute for the time version. So we'll see if I can improve upon that. We'll see if the score or the game is easier. Let's get into it. Quick disclaimer is I just tried this and my window was freezing, so I'll try it again. But it like went to a random grid. But in any event, I have seen the top left hand, so I had I had Howie Kendrick for that one, and now I'm going to get into the rest of them. But I don't think I internalized any of the other ones, so I don't know why it went to grid 32. Let's do Immaculate Grid. Go play Howie Kendrick. Great. All right, selecting Howie Kendrick. Playing first base. What do we think about Pujols? He played there. Weaver. I could get the right one. Jared. Yep. Let's see. We could go Gaylord Perry. He had a 10-win season. Playing first base. What do we think about? Actually, let's go Adrian Gonzalez. I probably won't use Wally Joyner, but all right. And then over here, Washington, San Diego, Montreal, Rondell White. Oops, that might be a really low score. That's a tough one. Now I'm thinking about that. Ooh, I might have used the lowest one I'm going to be able to think of. Why would I go with Teixeira? That's such a tough name to spell. Former Brewer CC Sabathia, and I'm in under a minute. 58 seconds with an 85 rarity score. I did have a little bit of a cheat because I'd started and I'd saw Angels and Nationals, but it then like cut out on me before that. I don't know why it went to grid 32 though. So I'll give myself an extra 2 seconds for an even minute. We'll call this another par. Let's see who was so Rondell White. Man, I am trying to think of San Diego and Montreal slash Washington. Why didn't I just go with Juan Soto? That would have been so much easier. Why did I think of Rondell White first? Wasn't he was never even a national. So anyway, hitting that, stop share, and we'll reshare. And we'll find Immaculate Grid. That looks like it did the same thing. Was this my window? Go to Baseball Reference and play Immaculate Grid. All right, now we're rocking and rolling. I don't know why that had to be such an ordeal. Let's play. Let's go. Um, let's see. Darren Erstad played first base. Cecil Fielder played with the Angels, but I gotta believe he wasn't playing first base anymore. And I've got Andres Galarraga playing his last year with the Angels. I just don't think he was playing the field either in those handful of games. And he didn't play very long. Eddie Murray, I'm not sure about because he was a DH by that point in his career. Um, but I know Erstad works. Let's see. I think it was Scott Spezio was playing over there when they won the World Series. Um, that's a, yeah, that's kind of an interesting one. Let's see. I think I'll just go with what is Nixon over here? He's usually pretty reliable. 0.3. Um, let's see. We could go with well, Lou Gehrig's probably going to draw a lot. Um, Chris Chambliss, Mattingly, and you pretty much have. Well, you have Nick Johnson, who I used already, but you basically have what Mattingly, Tino, Giambi, a little bit of Nick Johnson time as Giambi transitioned to more of a DH, and then you have Teixeira, right? And that takes you ways. DJ LeMahieu more recently. Um, Chambliss hits you in the 70s. So it's just like I'm just trying to come up with who would be a less obvious person. Trying to think, I mean, Johnny Mize, that actually might be a good one. No DH in the early 50s, so So he goes .1. That's a pretty solid get. I'm glad I held out for that because I was going to go with Chambliss, and I think he'd be in the several percent kind of range. What if Hideki Arabu ever? Ooh, he would have worked here. What if Hideki Arabu ever won 10 games? That'd be an interesting pick. Um, ooh, here's one. What do we think of Figueroa? But not that Figueroa from the 70s. I think Ed Figueroa. I think he was like a 20 game winner with the 78 Yankees or something like that. Sparky Lyle wrote about him a little bit in his book. Also, Sparky Lyle would work, but he's more famous. So go with that one. That doesn't seem like a mustache that's allowed on a George Steinbrenner team. That must have been pre-Steinbrenner, although I think I just looked at the dates and it wasn't. But all right. Let's see here. For the Padres, let's see. Ed Whitson would be an interesting pick. I think there was a Dave Smith played in the early 70s for the Padres. I think it's something generic like that. I want to say Dave Smith. Um, there's a Randy Jones and Gaylord Perry are pretty obvious. Whitson hits kind of the mid 80s time frame. Um, I think well, I'm not sure about Raleigh Fingers. I don't want to guess that. Um, Sterling Hitchcock, that's a good baseball name. Sounds like an investigator of some sort, detective. Let me just see if the time frame I'm thinking of works for the guy I'm thinking of. It doesn't. I think I'm thinking of a different guy, and I think it was someone who won, a bunch of games in the early 70s, and I didn't see it. So maybe Dave Smith is someone else. Generic name. I'm gonna go Sterling Hitchcock. Great name. Great baseball name. 1%. That's okay. And then the Angels. Jim Abbott seems too famous. Chuck Finley seems too famous. Um, Dean Chance won a Cy Young Award. That seems too famous. Nolan Ryan, obviously not going with him. Burt Blyleven did play for the Angels towards the end of his career. He'll work. I think he was like a 17 game winner, like in his late 30s type season. Mark Langston will certainly work. I think Kevin Apier works. Obviously Lackey works, but then you start getting into more obvious people. Well, Don Sutton will work. Oh, who of the people I just what if we try Apier? He was on the O2 team, so maybe that's a little popular, but let's check it out. Sub one, barely sub one though. Let's see, Angels first baseman. I listed a bunch of DHs who may have moved their way into the field, but I can't say they were playing first base with any kind of confidence. I want to say Tim Salmon may have started as a first baseman before moving to right field, but I might be misremembering that too. Um, who else? Who else? All I can think of is periwinkle uniforms. Eddie Murray and Cecil Fielder in periwinkle uniforms. Silly look. Teixeira works. I've already used him though. Uh, but Casey Kochman. That's a strong baseball name. Boy, he was traded. Yes, he was traded in exchange by the Angels to the Braves for Teixeira, among other things. 2%. Okay, that's not too bad. Um, all right, and then for San Diego, you get Wally Joyner. Who else makes their way over there? I wonder if Jeff Cirillo ever played first base this time with the Padres. I know he played a little bit with the Brewers. but not saying that with any kind of confidence. Obviously, if Fred McGriff, I don't think that's fooling anybody. Um, Joyner was on the 98 team, and that's such a prominent team that I just think it's going to be too obvious. Gonzalez gets there by about '06, and then you get Hosmer in the teens somewhere, like 2017 maybe, which means in between who was filling out first base. Um, it seems like, yeah, I don't know. I'm struggling with that one too. And then yeah, over here, Expos. I'm just trying to think. Expos and Padres, or Nats and Padres. Um, man, that's a tough one. I know Scherzer almost became a Padre. Um, Bartolo Colon will work here, but I just think that's too obvious because it's Bartolo Colon. You're not gonna get any Todd Zeal love. Oh, Galarraga will work. Let's do him here, having been too chicken to play him at first base. Did win a Gold Glove at first base as an Expo though. All right, and so yeah, I mean Gary Carter's not gonna work. Andre Dawson's not gonna work. Tim Raines isn't gonna work. Spike Owen isn't gonna work. Ron Vallone will work though. Talked myself around to former Brewer Ron Vallone. Point one. All right, so decent showing all the way around. Just trying to get this middle one. I could still go sub 10, but I've got to come up with someone more rare than Wally Joyner. So who's more rare than Wally Joyner? Um, I mean, it was Hosmer for a while there, and yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, that's kind of a lost period for me in terms, like I would vaguely follow and know who's in the playoffs, but 2013 to 17 is kind of, or 16 is kind of a dead zone for me with being in the Navy during that time. Um, and then for Gonzalez, and in between Gonzalez and Joyner is kind of a dead period for me too. Um, dare I swing it with one of my favorite players? I'm gonna go Cirillo. This is kind of a swag, but I know he's mainly a third baseman, but he played little first base with the Brewers. So let's see if he played a little first base with the Padres. Oh, he did. Immaculate with a 6 and Cirillo taking a .02. That was a fun guess. That was a fun, educated guess. Um, but all right, I'll take a 6. I'll take about a minute if you count me cheating on this first one. But I swear I didn't see anything else. So I went right into the first one and didn't really look. So maybe it's a bad strategy, but it keeps my conscience clean for this one. All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna stop there. Thanks a lot for playing, and we'll be back at it sometime tomorrow. We'll probably be playing for a hotel at that point. But thanks a lot. Peace.